you enjoy. A quick thank you to the T5 peeps. Bob the Dragon, Datamagnet, Cat Crab Lobster, DuckMachine, Try Again 95, Astraya the Dreamer, Mezec, Feudic Jarl, Germanchemist, Casper Arnholtz, and Chaos to Must. Thank you very much. Story number 1. Microplastics, written by Calamity Comet. Two aliens in wide-brimmed canvas hats trudged through the water. It was murky and fetid and choked with plastic. It nearly came up to their waists. Huzu watched them work. His mother had said the aliens were contractors hired to help fix the planet. Fixing planets was their species' specialty. One of the aliens suddenly noticed his gaze and waved. Huzu turned away and hissed at his mother. "It noticed me." She was working with the nets by the river, but she took a moment to turn and laugh. "Yes, and now it's probably going to want to say hi." "But that's so weird," said Huzu, flailing to conceal his fear. The aliens only had 2 arms and only 2 legs, and worst of all, they only had 2 eyes. His mother patted him reassuringly, cooing to comfort him. "They're just humans. They're here to help our whole planet. That will make the village a much nicer place, don't you think?" Huzu muttered a response, but it wasn't audible. The 2 humans got closer. The one with the long curly fur on its head set down a machine on a tripod in the water and began fiddling with its inputs. The other walked purposely towards Huzu and his mother until it was so close Huzu could smell it. It had sun-colored hair and dark glasses over its eyes. "Good day, ma'am." The alien tipped his hat while translating machine translated. "I'm at the Planetary Survey, and I need to ask the village elder a few questions. Could you kindly point me in the right direction?" "I am on the council," said Huzu's mother, imperious to fear and confident in the alien's translator. "Excellent," the human said. "My name's Ben. Let's begin with the basics." He asked a lot of questions about plastic. How much plastic was there in the river during the rainy season? How much during a dry season? Did it clump up in big patches like it did in the big ocean? Was it mostly translucent or colorful? Did they find it in the fish? Did they report any differences in their biological cycles? Was the drinking water making them sick? Was the food? What did the government say, and did they think they was telling the truth? It got more esoteric. The questions got more complex and more politically dangerous. Huzu heard his mother think for longer before each one, but eventually the interview ended. The human never asked Huzu to leave. He never mocked the squalor of the village or bragged about the standards of galactic civilization. He was polite and straightforward the whole time. At the end, he simply nodded and began to get up to leave. Huzu's mother suddenly reached out. "Are we doomed? The League of Systems says we're living in a borrowed time." The fear and shame in her voice shocked Huzu. The human bared its teeth, then realizing Huzu's sudden fear and quickly covered his mouth. "That there teeth thing is a sign of goodwill," he coughed and began again. "There's a lot of little things that can wipe out a pre-galactic species, but I think you'll be okay. The big danger is the microplastics. Those are little bits that you can't see. But while we're barred from giving you the warp drive, we do have some tools that we can sell cheaply and some advice we'll give for free. Your world's climate's mostly stable, and your walls are mostly low intensity." He gestured around the village. "This'll be okay, and it will get better." He held up his hand to his face in a conspiratorial gesture. "We've got a microbe that eats most plastics. We've got a lot of time to test it out since we first had to make it. You'll make it to the League, ma'am." Huzu blurted out before his mother could stop him. "My teacher says galactics are a bunch of corrupt orbital trash and that they don't let irresponsible races like owls pass the great filter because they don't want us to be neighbors with them." The human looked shocked at first, but then simply nodded. "Mostly, yeah." He paused for what felt like a very long time and then spoke. "The League of Systems is corrupt as the stars, but they ain't completely wrong. The Great Filter is just a fancy term we use for a species' own worst tendencies. If they're too self-destructive, they, don't make it. So galactics who did make it think that they are wise not to help." The human held up a hand over the harsh statement Huzu's mother was about to level. But we humans disagree on just one minor point. We think a species can become more responsible if you just give them a chance and a little bit of help. Huzu's mother covered her face in shame. You must think we're the sorriest species ever, filling our oceans with garbage like this. I bet you've never seen a species screw up their planet as bad as this. Now the human appeared very stern. He held up a finger. Once. The human sucked in air. We've seen one species do far worse than this. He bared his teeth again, very slowly this time. And they made it. You will too. I bet that species must have felt real dumb, being worse than us and all, said Huzu. The human made a barking noise. The translator said was laughter. Yes, they were real dumb, but being dumb is the first step to being smart. He looked directly at Huzu. Some of those stuffy galactics never learned that. In time, you'll show them what true responsibility means. Keep at it. And then the human was off again. He trudged off merrily through the sludge, his canvas hat flopping in the wind, off to help his partner take measurements of the fetid plastic-choked water outside of the village piers. End of story. Story number 2. Alcohol, written by Swift Hound. Many always wonder why humans drink poison. Not just poison to another species or even most of the galaxy. Why do humans drink something that is poison to themselves? Something that destroys their body and brains even in what they call a minor doses. Why do they often kill themselves with poison? Why do they, almost suicidally, leave this plane of existence and risk all they have? Well, do I have an answer for you? Yes, you who want to know about humans and their maddening minds and creations. To those of you who wish nothing more but to torment yourselves with knowledge that would best be left where it sits. Humans poison themselves with alcohol because to them, it's a substance that alters their minds with the most minor of consequences in the short term. Every human knows that everything in this universe will come to pass. They know that all their history and creations will fail and burn with the universe. They know the futility of life. But they also know that it isn't meaningless, even if everything gets destroyed. Some humans see everything as pointless, finding no reason to go on. Some find solace in tricking their brains and destroying them with drugs. Others find the same with religion, the belief of a great good entity that protects them from the heavens. But alcohol is for those who only want a small break from the horrible grayness of the universe. Those whom only wish to relax their minds for a moment to know the joys of doing so. To be a human is to know how it all ends. Many species have that information locked beyond the grasp of emotions. The humans enjoy no such luxury, for in the dead of night, the Reaper can remind them of their eventual fate. They can see and hear the death of everything that has ever been. For that reason, they seek refuge from alcohol, the oldest devil the humans know. It kills them, but it can also save them. Without anything to dampen their minds and thought, many of them could easily find it easier to no longer suffer the weight of existence. Even writing this, I feel nothing, for our species cannot comprehend the eventual death of everything that we hold dear. The humans are the only ones who feel the weight, who see the death even while alive. The only ones who haven't ended their species. When you see a human laughing in a bar, intoxicated beyond recognition, don't feel sorry for them. Don't feel sadness or pity. You must laugh with them, dance with them, enjoy yourself with them, for it is the only time that they can enjoy such things without death gripping at their heels. End of story. And that, my friends, concludes this video. I hope that you enjoyed, and